Hey YouTube, it's Earl. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Well, it's been a while, probably almost a month since I've loaded anything up. And life has been busy. I got a few new blends that I'll review and put up. I've got some home creations, some things that I've done and kind of made here tobacco wise recently. I'll get those posted to the channel. But first thing that I wanted to say, especially for all you who have just joined and subscribed, I guess just subscribed, you haven't really joined anything, but those of you who've just subscribed to the channel, thank you very much. As of today, that puts me over 500 subscribers, which, when I started this off, just a guy sitting on the back porch, just smoking some tobacco and talking about it. Honestly, I thought I'd gotten to 500 a lot quicker. I don't know what's wrong with you people. I'm joking, obviously. But I'm honored. Thank you for joining and listening to the content. I love all of your comments and feedback. You're really kind of what keeps me coming back and doing these. I mean, if I got no feedback, really don't think I would continue to make them. So that's number one. Thank you for your subscription. Thank you for the way you've, for a lot of you, become part of my life, just in the comments you leave and all of that. So we appreciate it. Before I move further on, I don't know if you may or may not be able to see that very well, but this is my 2019 St. Patrick's Day pipe. And in it, I have some quiet nights tonight. No tobacco review tonight. But, I thought I would give you some comments on current events, which, as of this writing, the United States is purposefully shutting down broad swaths of its economy, or minimizing or reducing its productivity possibility on broad swaths of its economy, to contain the spread of the coronavirus. And I think that's important. I think that's a good thing. To value life over economic progress, which makes you wonder about the other question in our politics today about life. And you know what I'm talking about, and I won't get into it. But I think that's a good thing. And so a lot of people have, I've run into both extremes and I've been on both extremes within the past 2 weeks of, oh, this isn't a big deal. We just relax. It's like the cold. It's, maybe it's double the kill rate of the common flu. It's no big deal. Just, let's just let it do the thing it's going to do. And now being much kind of on the other extreme of where I'm, washing my hands 10 times a day and, using the disinfectant on my hands, hand sanitizer, a couple of times a day. Avoiding shaking hands and getting too close to people. There's a good chance I'll be doing some work from home. Fortunately enough, I work in an industry that my work will continue, no matter what, because we are a vital component of the national economy and how capital gets allocated and how people have funds and retirements and all that kind of stuff. So my work will continue no matter what, and I'll continue to get paid to do that work. And so I'm blessed in that. But I do think it's telling that we as a country, I think you could collectively talk about, maybe this is an overreaction. Could be. I'm not sure that it is. Not if you want to lower the amount of deaths. I don't think it is. In a lot of ways, I think you can see this to be a patriotic moment, especially for us Americans, where we're so fiercely independent and we really don't want the government to tell us to have to do anything. I think it encourages me more to see businesses and individuals going along with the advice of, for lack of a better word, the experts, and doing that because they want to be good neighbors and they want to protect those who are most at risk of this. Most Americans are not at risk for this. And so this is something that is really, it's an effort that our country is taking to protect elderly and those who are most at risk, who have economic concerns. And I find that to be comforting. I also find it to be comforting to see businesses extending their sick leave programs. I work for a business that kind of changed the rules on some of their short-term disability, that is allowing workers that if you got to be out of work because of you've contracted the coronavirus, short-term disability, or companies that are figuring out creative ways to help parents whose kids are no longer in school get them the care that they need. All of those are things that I think show the vibrancy of our American culture, of for all the things that we do wrong, in moments of struggle, we band together and we work together for the common good. I'd like to think that's an American thing. My guess is it's a human condition, a human trait. But this is now the second thing in a year where I've seen that businesses and individuals band together in the face of extraordinary difficulty. And so rather than freaking out, I'm extremely hopeful, because it seems like people are taking it seriously. Even in here, in small town Louisiana, people are avoiding groups. People are trying to honor things. They're also trying to support the local restaurants by ordering takeout meals, because our governor closed down the restaurants, I think for the next 2 weeks or for the next month, for dine-in. You can do carry-out or drive-through. And so I think that's really interesting to see how people are handling these situations and how they're doing things. And it kind of brings me to a second point, something that I've been pondering for several days, and probably since the last time I made a video. It's this, that, so number one, I'm a Christian, and a committed one at that, and very imperfect, but committed. And excuse me, I do have a cough. I don't have the coronavirus that I know of. But the scriptures teach us that we should be generous with our wealth. And it reminds us over and over again that we should be generous. And the reason we should be generous is, number one, God has been generous with us. Number two, It's because God owns everything. And so if in obedience to him, you give away a good chunk of what you own, it's okay, because he's never going to run out, and neither are you. And so we can be called to, and Jesus, quite frankly, does call us to, a lot of times, radical generosity. So the scriptures are filled with that, whatever resource limitations you think you have, you really don't. Because the Lord will provide and take care of you. Therefore, be generous with what you have and give generously to others. But there seems to be, to me, one resource that God has designed us and the world in such a way that it is limited. And it's time. We all only get so many hours in a day. I could be maybe more productive than you and get more done in a certain amount of time. But there's no time inequality. We all get the same number of hours, but we're also limited to the same number of hours. On top of that, so while the Lord does promise to bless those who follow him with long life, and that's a promise with a lot of caveats. But the Proverbs and Psalms are full of these hints of those who are faithful to God are rewarded with long life. But the scriptures are also full of warnings to number our days and to know that our life is really but a mist and that we don't know what tomorrow holds. I mean, think of you, if you're American, probably 3 weeks ago, you thought, oh gosh, it was silly that these Chinese people couldn't figure out how not to spread this virus. And sure, it'd come over here, a few people would get it, but it'd be like the last flu thing we were worried about, and it wouldn't be a big deal because we Americans, we've got better health care and we know how to do this. And now you're talking about, hey, maybe the economy shutting down for a month or two and people just staying at home, working from home, schooling their kids at home. Anyway, life is short and you don't know what comes around the next corner. And so the scriptures teach us to number our days, and it specifically warns us not to waste them. As Paul says in Ephesians, I think it's chapter 5, be very careful then how you live, for the days are evil. Not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity. And so one of the things that I would encourage you guys and gals who watch and subscribe is think about that. The Lord has promised to bless you generously, and has promised that as you give generously and do the things that he asks you, he'll bless you generously, and that there's never a time where you're going to not have anything because he's promised that he'll take care of you. But he's also told you to be careful with your time, because you never know how much you're going to get. And even if you get a long life, it goes by quick. Be very careful then how you live. Maybe I think about that a little bit more because I'm turning 40 in 2 days. Men and women, let's get down the road of doing the things that are important. Loving your family. Being true to the one who made you. Being a blessing to others. That's what's important. Y'all have a good night.